So good morning and greetings to all of my OLE friends and colleagues out there in Zoom land. My name is Jerry Robertson, and I worked for the Ryder organization for 35 years before retiring in 2019. And when Ann asked if I could put together a farm tour as part of our events program, I knew just the right person to talk to about that project. So Luis Calderon had come into the organization a few years before I left, and he and I collaborated on some projects together and became friends. And he's going to lead the tour this Thursday. And in preparation for that, he's put together a presentation to give some background on the Ryder farming companies, as well as the Driscoll marketing organization. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Luis Calderon. He can take it from there and tell us about yourself, Luis.
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Nice to kind of virtually meet everyone here. As Jerry said, I've been here for about close to 19, 18 years now with Ryder. This is my first professional career, and I've made it a life out of it, basically, and engulfed myself into farming. I was born and raised here in Ventura. I actually grew up in farm worker housing in Cabrillo Village until when I got married and was able to moved out with my wife and started a family here locally as well too. So my first job here with Ryder was as a summer intern in Mexico. So I was able to work for them in Mexico and kind of see some of their best practices and so forth too. And then also coming in here, I worked in HR for a few years. And then in 2012, started my career in production as a ranch manager growing strawberries, and then went on to grow raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries. So I've been fortunate to grow all four berries that you see here on the picture that Ryder focuses on growing in the area. So it's been an honor to work here, an honor to meet Jerry, and it's been great to also represent the ag industry in many other realms as well too. So um, Shayna, for questions, should we hold them off till the end? I think that might be better.
That's up to you. Yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to enter them into the chat and we can go through them at the end. Or if you prefer to unmute at the end when we do the Q&A, you're welcome to do that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we could maybe tackle the questions at the end, but if there's any clarification or anything needed on any topics or something, more than happy to stop and clear anything up too. So with that, I'll start with a presentation. So here at Ryder, as the picture shows, we grow all four berries: raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, and strawberries. We do at time, if you guys have seen, we do grow rosé strawberries or rosé raspberries or some golden berries as well too. Very minimal to our berry portfolio, but still fall within these four berry categories for us too. So for us Ryder affiliated companies, RAC for shorter acronym, is the largest fresh growing multi-berry producer for Driscoll's and in the world. As mentioned, we grow raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries, and we grow them year round. That's a big topic. I think I'll talk a little bit around kind of how and why we do certain things. Is the fact that we try to produce year round berries for the consumer and from the demand as well too. And our vision is to become a thriving and respected family farming company, advancing our people, communities, and industry. And our mission is to be great at farming Driscoll's berries that we are proud to share of, and that we do not take it lightly. Everything we do and we share and we focus on is to grow the best tasting berry that you can have. And our goal is to be able to share that with people, my children, anyone. Kids are the best critics of berries, so those are the ones you want to make sure to keep happy. But everyone that eats a berry, we want to make sure they enjoy the berry and they want to buy our berry again. And our core values for our company being honesty, fairness, and respect. So for Ryder, it's a family, fifth generation farming family. They're from up north, Santa Clara Valley, where they first started, and they found this berry that they really liked. They describe it as a very basically red, aromatic, well-shaped strawberry. And so they started calling it sweet briar, and that was their first variety. And I believe it ended up being their company name for genetics as well too. So from there, they came down to Watsonville, started farming it, and here's a couple pictures of Dick Driscoll and Ed Ryder, who were interrelated. I believe it was by marriage, and so they were together, and that's where the Driscoll's deal comes from as well too. And so as they came together and farming and so forth too, they did like it's a co-op type of deal where they all farmed under the same label to be able to get to consumers, be able to market, be able to ship and share their berries. So it was a group of different farmers, growers, and in the middle picture here you also have um, the Sheehy brothers from Santa Maria, who were big critical parts of the family as well too, that helped grow there in Santa Maria. And then on the right there, you see the first patented strawberry variety Z5A, which a lot of our varieties first get numbers and then they get a true name later as well too as they continue. But as you can see, obviously this was a dated picture in 1958, where they start shipping berries a little bit more commercially through airplanes, and obviously there's cold store and so forth too. But the idea was to get it out to the consumer, and so that this was his idea of marketing and shipping under Driscoll's as well too. And so here I have a picture of Garland and Miles Ryder, who now semi-retired, I would say, still very involved in the farming, but we're really the heads of kind of the big growth that Ryder and Driscoll's had. Garland really focused on being the CEO and the operations here with Ryder affiliated companies, and then Miles focused on being the CEO and growing Driscoll's, and the relationship there. It's a family owned operation, and the writers have a large interest in Driscoll's, and that became because of World War II. After the World War II, a lot of the funding and so forth too for improvement of genetics and farming and so forth too kind of really dwindled down. And so their focus was to really get that going. And so as a family, they kept investing in their own genetics and growing their genetics. And so that came into Driscoll's and made them large ownership on there too. So really, that's what I would say kind of leads Driscoll's in their genetics and their berry portfolio, is the ability to have really an advancement on genetics during this time after World War II that were able to allow them to develop good tasting berries that we can grow in different regions of the world. And it didn't stop there. That was augmented pretty largely and continued to grow their portfolio of their genetics as well too. So their kids now are the ones that are very involved in the operations. As I mentioned, they're semi-retired and taking a little bit more of a board role with the chairman of the board, or other mentorship opportunities too for leadership here. And so our organization, the way it's set up is we're strictly a farming company. So Ryder affiliated companies, we farm berries for Driscoll's. Driscoll's is the label. Driscoll's is the genetics. They manage all the logistics, the sales, and marketing for what we do in the field. And so our goal is to focus on growing the best berry, and also we give a lot of feedback to Driscoll's as to how our operation looks, what's happening, and having a very transparent hand-to-hand business deal that we do, and in the hopes that we have a healthy representation of the grower and the marketer and shipper, so we can make sure we're good. Driscoll, Ryder affiliated companies, is made up of 3 different business models. We have a wholly owned, which is owned by the family. We operate that and paid management and so forth too, as I. And then we have partner operations, where we have partnerships that are made with specific people that are really good growers and have been in the business for many years and have grown within the organization, or given an opportunity to become a larger grower, take a larger stake. And then the other third model is it's we call it independent grower model. So it's a basically an opportunity for people who want to farm, want to grow, and we give them the ability to do so in a smaller scale. And so it's people that can self-manage their operation. They can, they are the irrigator, sometimes the truck driver and forklift driver, and they manage their very small scale farm, and so they're able to manage it on its own. Sometimes for us as being a large operation, it's harder to farm small acreage, and small acreage are easier to farm for individuals that are looking to have an opportunity to do so. But as everyone knows, the macroeconomics of becoming a farmer and farming, it's very challenging. So our idea of this is to give opportunities for people to become and reach their goal of becoming a farmer. And then here we kind of give a area, and I mentioned a little bit before, our goal really is to grow berries year round as best as possible. So as you know, here we go through, well, in Ventura County, I tell people we don't get to feel the seasons as much as this year. But there's other areas where they do get a winter, and they do get a spring, and they do get a summer and a fall. And I feel like ours kind of blend in a little bit. But nonetheless, the amount of grow hours, night hours, and summer solstice, and how long our days are very critical to growing berries. So that's the reason we grow all over the world. For example, Mexico, we farm in San Quintin, Ciudad Guzman, and Jocon, Tapalpa, all three of those areas in Jalisco. We farm in Zamora, where I did my summer internship as well too. And then in Puebla, where we have some of our high elevation nurseries as well too. And then in United States, we have Oregon, Florida, obviously California. We have Watsonville, Salinas, Santa Maria, Lompoc area as well. But a lot of this is just for the seasonality. So if you get a sense of it, when you buy a strawberry in the winter, more than likely it's a strawberry that's coming from Mexico. And then you're buying a strawberry in the spring, and more than likely it's coming from Oxnard. And then you buy a strawberry in the summer, more than likely it's coming from Watsonville or Santa Maria regions where they have good growing conditions during the summer. So so then on and on it goes through that cyclical rotation. There is a little bit of a gap there in November, kind of late fall, where Oxnard has another little period to grow, and we're able to take advantage of that growing region because of our weather. It's more tempered here too during that time, so it's not as extreme for other areas too. And additionally, we also grow in Canada. Canada's big proponent of Canadian fruit, so they buy Canadian majority of the time. So that's why we have operations in Canada too, and to provide for some of those summer productions with raspberries as well too. South America and Peru. Jerry did some of the scouting for Peru as well too, and Peru is very interesting. They're a big fall blueberry production region, and very good conditions, and obviously logistically can get out to the world with blueberries easier, as blueberries have a good shelf life where you can ship them throughout the world. Europe, we farm in Portugal. We also have Morocco, and then most recently in China, where we started operating within China to feed the demand there with consumers in China. And so growing our plants, it takes a lot to grow the 4 berries that we do. It's very seasonal. It's very challenging as well too. But with that, we've also come up with really good strategies on growing berries. I mean, whenever you drive through a field, it's, you might see the big hoop plastics, or the long furrows of strawberries, and so forth too, and look at it, and not there might not be a symmetry to it at the beginning from what the eye sees, but behind there, every plant of strawberry is planted at a specific density, a specific distance from one to another. Every emitter in our substrate farming, which we'll be able to see, and that's specifically to growing in cocoa inside pots. It's measured down to the liter by second, so we can ensure precise fertility and irrigation. And so everything we do is very purposeful. when we prune a blueberry can dictate when and how much we produce. When we plant a raspberry can dictate how much we produce, or what time frame we can be able to prune it after. Strawberries are big proponents of chill hours, so depending how many chill hours it does or doesn't have is how we will plan our planting and our fertility and so forth too going forward. So they're very intricate berries. They're very delicate. All four of them are highly perishable. And so it takes a lot from us to be able to give to our consumer what we do. And a big part of it is the focus to the details, the focus to how we do things and doing them well. But the big part of it, and touch a little bit on the next slide, is really with our people. So, we have this view of how we look at things, and it's really putting our people first. So we know that without our people, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So we have a high focus on our people. We're a highly, labor demand crop that we pick multiple times a week. So, for instance, a strawberry acre, we can probably go through each acre, or each one time. We could pick it up to 3 times a week per se, and so it gives you an idea how many people we need. A raspberry plant, we could pick it up to 4 times a week. On blueberries, it's a little bit longer. We have about 15 to 20 day intervals, and that helps us with ripening and being able to be more efficient with harvest. Blackberries maybe 1 to 2 times a week as well too. So each berry is very concentrated on how we focus our harvest. But even that in itself, how we harvest really is the focus on how we focus to give you the best tasting berry. So 1 or 2 days that we leave it on or more, it dictate how much more Brix, and the Brix means sugars. So how much sugars we build into the berry. And so that's a lot what we do, but also the big focus on our people coming first is a lot of the things we do is with mind of making the job for people easier. So and that they can maximize their earnings too. So whatever density we do, whatever planting quantity we do per acre, is thinking how easy can we make the job for our harvesters? How can they make more money? How can we make sure that they also come in here and help us in a financially healthy way too, but be able to live well too. So that's a big focus of what we do. And nonetheless, we also in the community are very in, involved with community affairs that we can do. We're big supporters with the Boys and Girls Club, hoping to support childcare and support for the children of our farm worker community. So that's a big part of our support and philanthropy as well too. And other aspects that I personally have gone to, speaking on behalf of supporting farm worker housing and so forth too as well too. Another interesting part to kind of share is we do depend, besides having local labor and so forth too, we do depend on H-2A labor. So it's people that we bring via a visa program to work with us. And another cool fact that we have is we have our own housing for our H-2A employees. And the idea of that is that we have more of a control of what the life quality and living quality is for our employees. So our goal is to provide them a place where they can live safe, live comfortably, enjoy themselves, and really just come here to focus on what they come in, obviously to work, but also do it comfortably to be able to send money back home to their families, build a better life, build a higher quality of life back home where they call home too. So that's been pretty interesting to understand. And so the H-2A, what it is, it's a method to bring employees through a visa. So the H-2A is a basically a type of visa that we can use to bring labor to work here in our fields as well too. So we're able to use our own labor from Mexico, and so as they finish their season down there, we're able to give it an opportunity here, and they're actually able to go from here up to Santa Maria at times, or up to Watsonville, Salina. So they're able to work longer than they they would have if they would have just worked in Mexico, giving them a better opportunity to work here and make money. Obviously, as an H-2A employee, there's requirements we have to fulfill. There's a minimum AWAR, they call it. It's a minimum pay for H-2A employees that we have to meet. And then we also add incentives so they can make more money from that aspect as well too. So it's a good way to help with labor restraints in our area, but also not only help with our business, but also give the opportunity for the people that are wanting to come and work through a visa process too. A couple other things that we do for our farming is, a focus on our land and organics. So there's a big focus on improving our soil health through organic matter, biologicals, and other ways as well too. But those are two big ways of improving our soil health. And so the way we do that is a lot of cover cropping. We do a lot of land rotation with vegetable growers around the area. More specific than the strawberries, that we still do a lot of farming in the soil. Raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries, we farm in substrate. So substrate, to give an idea, is, I don't know how many of you have seen, but lately you've seen more pots being put out in under hoop houses. And inside those pots, we get cocoa fiber, and fine cocoa fiber and some chip. And depending on the type of water, that's what dictates that. But we're able to plant within this 7-liter, 10-liter, 20 or 30-liter pot, and then be able to grow it in precise irrigate, precise fertilize it, and be able to kind of manage it a lot better, mitigating soil disease, mitigating and using our resources more efficiently too. So that's a pretty exciting part of it. But and so in those cases, cultivating the land means being more resourceful with our inputs and our natural resources, which is land and water. But also focusing on the organic and soil-based farming, our ability to improve our soil health has a good direct correlation with our ability to produce better. And so that's our focus here is being able to add organic matter through cover crops or composting or other areas, and then focusing on biological as well too. So here you could say, well, why is there a picture of worms? Picture of worms means a healthy soil, and healthy soil has a lot of worms. And so we did this pretty cool thing where we actually started cultivating, we call it worm casting leachate. And so we have these beds of 200-300 foot runs, and then we have composting material in there decomposing with worms. And what they do is obviously they eat and then digest and have droppings after that. And that is a great organic matter that if we inject into our soils, we can improve our soil health. And you start actually directly seeing even more worms, more organic matter, a healthy soil. You can smell it, and it smells good. It smells healthy, has a strong kind of organic composting smell to it too. There's actually soils that I've smelled, and you could almost smell the decomposing matter. It kind of smells rotten, kind of foul smell. And so you can start noticing the difference on smell, not to get into details of how it should smell, but that's kind of what we look for. And so the ability to focus on improving our soil health, not only obviously being good stewards of the land, but we're trying to correlate productivity as well too. So I mentioned harvesting our berries is we take a lot of pride on. Our focus is the people, how efficient we could do it, and really making it easy for our harvesters. So as much as we look into how we set up the berry structure, how much density we have, and so forth too, that directly correlates with their ability to pick faster, make more money, at times even obviously be more efficient, having to work less because they're making more money in less time as well too. And now that's a big focus on us, what we do and so forth too. But jumping over to Driscoll's the world's largest distributor of fresh strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. And so they operate throughout the world. They have direct growers besides us as well too that also grow berries for Driscoll's. And their mission is to continually delight the berry consumer through alignment with our customers and berry growers. So obviously wanting to make sure they're the middle people that align the consumer demand, what the reflection is on the flavors, berry quality type, everything that you may think of to the grower, and be able to give us that feedback so we could grow back that best berry that we can do it. They grow year round. They have over 900 independent growers, and as well, you grow in 26 countries. So they do have operations in a little bit more countries that we operate in. Ourselves as Ryder, Driscoll's obviously with other independent growers have growing abilities in other regions. Besides us, they do have presence in South Africa, Australia, Chile as well too. So they do significantly have other areas too. Georgia, I believe they have some areas with blackberries as well too. So it gives them a little bit more of ability to provide berries throughout the year. And so the idea of Driscoll's is really through how to maximize the genetics. And so the idea of being able to have our own genetics gives us the ability to understand what we can use as a tool to grow and what region they grow better and so forth too. And as Jerry mentioned, he scouted different areas. And part of that scouting as well goes is what genetics function best in certain areas. So Oxnard, we might do well with one genetic, but we don't do well with another genetic because we have June gloom and a little bit of Santa Anas or different weather patterns that they may have in Salinas as well too. So that also has an effect of the quality of the berry as well too. This year, for example, as a quick note, we've had twice as many growing degrees. So a growing degree is any degree above 50 degrees. So we've had a warmer winter this year than we did last year. Last year we had about 900 growing degrees. This year we are close to 1,600 growing degrees. So that'll change our dynamic of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And it has, again, a direct impact to our productivity. So something we might not think about it on a daily basis, but us as farmers, we notice it in our crops when we do have a warmer winter or a cooler summer, or vice versa as well too. So Driscoll's, with their ability, they're able to kind of focus what genetics work well, how do they work well. They give us feedback. This is not doing well as a winter planting. Let's focus it on a spring production and so forth too. So we're able to kind of work with them hand in hand and be able to focus and just give them the best berry that we can give them to be able to satisfy our consumer demand too. And here's a quick little slide, and I think it dictates well how it's broken down on responsibilities and how we kind of do business. And you can see started on the left-hand side, Driscoll's research facility and Driscoll's nursery and on-farm trials. Those three sectors are managed by Driscoll's, and Driscoll's really focuses on, getting the right berry, the right location, and then being the nursery, growing that rootstock out, being able to give that demand to the grower, and then obviously with that on-farm trials to give us our best management practices on how we can grow the best berry as well too. So we kind of get a sort of a manual on each genetic that we get with already some known facts, maybe some do's and don'ts, and some challenges that it might bring too, so that when we farm commercially, as an independent direct grower, we have a better sense of how we manage the plant. Maybe it's a plant that uses less nitrogen, or it's a plant that needs more shading or X factor, so we have to take that into consideration. And then Ryder affiliated companies, you can see in the middle with our partners, we grow the berries. Ryder affiliated companies with our harvesters, we pick the berries. And then Driscoll's, as a cooling and packaging, they receive the berries. So as soon as we have the responsibility of taking the nursery stock, growing it, picking it, put it in our flatbed and taking it to the cooler. And so as soon as it gets to the cooler, falls back onto Driscoll's, and then they manage cooling facilities, logistics, marketing, sales and distribution, and then retail and food service relationships as well too. So Driscoll's is basically the face to a Whole Foods, a Costco, a Wegmans on the East Coast, Irwin's, and Gelson's and all these stores as well too, Vons and all the big deals. And then it falls back to consumer feedback again. So as we get consumer feedback, it tightens up our kind of do's and don'ts and be able to fine tune our berry, and then we go through the cyclical deal again. So that's how the relationship is, how it kind of works. But at the end, as you see in the center, it's the ability to delight our consumers. So we want you to buy a Driscoll's basket and let that Driscoll's basket sell itself and be able to buy another. We don't want to just push volume without any flavor. We want flavor to be able to give us our sales back too. And I talked a little bit about earlier, Ryder Affiliated Companies is made up of 3 business models. We have our wholly owned, which is owned by the family, and we operate. And so that's basically a very self-managed operation, but in need of people coming in. And so as employees and so forth too. So a lot of our interns and outreach for people to come in and work for us is through that ability of the wholly owned operation, and we grow them, develop them, and as me, grow within the company as well too. And then the other is the independent grower model, where we, as mentioned, it's a platform to give the ability to small people or smaller farming capable people, or they may not have the means to fully operate, may not have the insight to get land or so forth too. And so that's an ability to give them a platform to come in and farm on their own. And then also the partnership model, which is one of our larger, it is our larger business model, and with a significant part of it being here in Oxnard. We have one of our largest partnerships here in Oxnard, which we're going to visit when we do our tour too. But people that have been harvesters and became independent growers, and then became small partnerships, and now have become big partnerships, where we're actually looking at them setting up their next generation as well to continue farming for them too. So it's a great, for me, it's been very rewarding personally as well too, because I was able to grow the independent grower program, started and grow it here in this district itself. And so now getting back to people and seeing them go from 10 acres to 100 acres of strawberries, and seeing their quality of life growing, and just getting that ability to get that thank you back of allowing them to get this opportunity to become a grower. It's very rewarding as a personal kind of deal, because you impacted someone's life as well too. Our company does manage on specific strategies. So here you can see our 5 main strategies that we have as a company. And the strategies, really what they do is they segue into specific goals and strategies specifically to each one within each district, as each district might have a different challenge. We might here, for example, have a big challenge on organizational fit for purpose, and I'll go through and kind of share with each one what it is. But other districts might have a little bit more of a community impact and so forth too. But we all have a tie into each one of the strategies. So with the first one, with deliver the business, is our focus is really to operate well, with the ability to be focused on our financial health to continue farming as well too. So we want to perform well. We are a very data driven company. We manage our KPIs a lot. And it's pretty cool because it's a mix of business and farming together. And obviously you always want to manage that together very well, to do well. So that's our big focus. And that also allows for creating this area of I would say of self, I don't know, challenge, or being able to be, what would be the word, is finding solutions and being creative to manage our business. And so we're able to be allowed to do that. And the focus on creativity is more to impact our business model too. So I remember Jerry here shared with me the first time, I would say about 8 years ago, about farming and substrate. And now we're fully utilizing farming and substrate to do what we had thought would do, manage our cost more, manage labor more, be more predictable to Driscoll's in the markets. And so through that creativity, we're able to reach this too. So Deliver the Business has some set goals that we have to do, but also allows for creativity to manage through them too. Organizational fit for purpose is being able to have the right people, the right structure. Farming is not an easy industry to be in, so it's very challenging to get new younger people, and I say younger, still consider myself young, but younger than me, to come into these roles and take the challenge. These are roles that you really kind of blend in with your life. We have high rains, heat waves, Santa Anas, and so you have to be pretty involved with a lot of these deals to manage your operations. So not only that, it's also being fit means being lean with what we have and how we manage as well too. So that's always important. And then relationship with Driscoll's is the key factor here, is being able to give them the fruit when they want it and how they want it, to be able to kind of more sell it with good prediction as well too. And then culture of doing it right, a big focus on developing our people, focus on safety, how we organize and collaborate and empower all our employees as well too. And then community is a big one too. So that's, we call it our key, our license to operate. So obviously that's a key factor of how we manage our resources, how we are viewed in the community, how we support our community, how we speak for our community as well too. And our community being the community we operate in, and our community of harvesters too, and how we help them as well too. So it's a big factor. And then as a strategy and having a plan, this is kind of our goal, and it's really scaled at the top with our vision, who we want to be, and then how we want to do it. Our mission is, but be great, growing, farming Driscoll's berries that we are proud to share. And then our 5 focus areas as well too. And then our outcomes we're trying to get there: sustainable profitability, a great workplace, reliable supplier to Driscoll's and to the consumer, and a trusted community partner. So that, with our strategy, we spoke on our vision and mission, bringing it all together. Our outcome, this is where we're truly kind of our North Star of where we want to be and continue.